In today's video, we are talking about something that you use all the time, but I bet you know very little information about: nail tips. It's a foundational topic that every nail tech, whether you're new or seasoned, needs to know about. So whether you are working on your full sets or you're just brushing up on your fundamentals, this is going to be the video for you. We're going to be going over the different types of nail tips out there, when and why you should be using these different tips, how to size them correctly, and I'm going to give you some pro tips that's going to save you some stress and some time when you're behind the table. Let's get into it right now. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, welcome. My name is Keisha. I am a licensed nail technician for more than 25 years. I still currently do nails and have my own nail business. I am a New York State licensed teacher of the nail technology program, and I'm a content creator and YouTuber. And if you like watching videos on how to get your nail business better and booming, how to touch up on your practical skills, your technical skills, business tips, tricks, tutorials, all that good stuff, make sure that you are subscribed and you like this video and your notification bell is on so you can be notified when I post this type of content every single week. First up, what are plastic nail tips? Plastic tips are pre-formed extensions that are made from lightweight ABS plastic. They are applied on the free edge to your natural nail to give an extension, and then you would place any type of enhancement, whether that be polygel, acrylic, hard gel, anything of that sort on top of it. So basically, tips are the foundation to whatever you're going to be creating as a full set. So now let's talk about the different types of nail tips out there. And this can be a little overwhelming if you are somebody that, I don't know, we talk about it in school a lot. The girls are always a little mind blown, like, oh, Miss Keisha, I just only thought there was one type of nail tip. No, there is a few different types of nail tips, and it can be a little complicated, so I'm just gonna try to keep this as simple as possible. So first up, we have full weld tips. So I'm gonna put a picture right here of the nail tips so you guys could see. Some of them I have on hand, some of them I don't. So I'm just gonna put a picture up here so you can see what I'm talking about. These tips have a deep well area that covers almost the entire nail plate. First off, we have to just say, what is a well? So a well is going to be that shallowed out area that you'll see on a nail. You'll see it on majority of some of these tips, but that is what your little well section is going to be. So you'll notice that in a full well tip, like what I'm showing you here, it has a lot of coverage for the natural nail. So this is going to be good for clients that have flat or uneven nail beds. And it's actually better for the nails. A lot of techs don't really use these, but I always say you should have a small box on hand because it's really, really good, and it's gonna provide you even more of a stronger foundation for your enhancements. The con to these is that because it's so much coverage on the natural nail, you definitely have to make sure, one, of air bubbles, making sure that there's no air pockets, no air bubbles when you're gluing these tips on, and also blending. Blending is gonna give you, you're gonna take a little bit more time blending it because there's just so much that is on the actual nail. Side note, these are the tips that you use for nail biters. If you have a client coming in and they have super duper short nails or little to no nails, these are your go-to nail tips. The second one is a half well tip. So we have it right here. And a half well tip is what most of us are using. So these are the norm tips that most of us use. And this is gonna cover about half of the nail plate. These can be used for clients that have a nice natural C curve to their nails, and it's gonna provide a little bit of foundation for our enhancements. The good thing about these is because they are just half coverage, the blending time is a lot more smoother. We have less chance of air bubbles and pockets and all that stuff. The con is the same thing for the other one, is that if you have someone or you have a lot of clients that have very short nails or nail biters, these are not your go-to tips. Now, side note, I know a lot of you have seen online, sometimes you'll see on TikTok or Instagram, technicians cut the sides of the tip so that it can go down more. wrong. That is the worst thing that you can possibly do. This is exactly why you should just invest in some full well tips. So even if you just have to do one nail as a full well and the rest could be half well, that's fine. Do not compromise the foundation, because by doing something like that, you're already risking lifting, lack of retention, and all these things. So we want to just make sure we're using the right tip accordingly. The third one is going to be your well list tips. Well list tips is something that you don't see a lot. So basically they're just straight off. You see the picture right here, and they don't have any well at all. So I know you're like, so what client do I use these for? So this is good for somebody that just needs a little bit of extension. They have beautiful, strong, nice, long, free edges. You don't really need to do much. They use these a lot of times in nail art competitions because they just kind of paste them on and then keep it moving. It's little to no blending, and that's where you would use these tips for. The only thing is, if you do decide to tackle this on, just make sure that they are sized properly, because there's no well, so there's no guide to show you where the tip should be. So you have to make sure that your application for these tips are kind of perfect. And lastly, we have our full coverage tips. So we see what these look like. These should definitely look familiar to you. So what do we use these for? These are going to cover the entire nail. They're often used for press-ons. They're often made with a gel or a soft gel base. It's applied using some type of adhesive. So again, Gel-X, press-on nails, all these things that we use a full coverage tip from. So the good thing about these, they're super quick, clean finish, minimal shaping, all the work is done for you. The only con is that it only really works on a fully clean, prepped, balanced nail. So we want to really make sure when doing, especially Gel-X, press-ons, all that stuff, that nail is prepped, because again, I'm providing full coverage with this tip. So I have to make sure that it is adhered perfectly. And just like with your Gel-X application, if you're using some type of glue, adhesive, whatever, to stick your Gel-X on, we have a lot of room for air pockets and stuff like that. So we really want to make sure our full coverage nails are fully onto the nail and there's no gaps or air pockets. So now let's tie it all together. When do we know when to use the right tip for which type of client? I'm going to explain. So your full well is going to be for your flat nails, nail biters, and uneven nails. Half well is going to be for your normal nails. They have a nice defined free edge, enough of a natural nail that my tip can go on without any type of drama or anything like that. Your well lists, again, if you can find them, they're going to be for the experienced nail tech that just wants to be like super quick, super fast, and you're just kind of no blending and such things. So if you're in a nail art competition, you just need something quick. Not necessarily saying that these don't last, but it's just kind of like for the more experienced, and it's just kind of like the quick thing to do. With clients that have super long nails that just need a little bit of an extension, and maybe let's say that you don't want to do a nail form on this, the well list is going to be the way to go. Full coverage is going to be press-ons, Gel-X, anything of that sort, quick service options. And remember guys, that it's all about adapting to the client that is in front of you. And just because I use my half well on 9 fingers, that one finger might need a full well, or it could be a well list, or maybe she has nothing and I need to do a full coverage on the pinky because she had some drama to it but still wants nails. Don't assume that all 10 fingers have to be the same. Clients don't care. They just want to walk out with their nails done. They don't care how you get the job done, just get it done. It's up to you to provide the right type of tip for that client's nails. Now let's just talk about something that could make or break your full sets. Sizing. Please make sure that you are sizing your tips correctly. So what are some tips that I have for you? So first of all, we want to make sure that the nail tip is sized correctly. That means that it should be sidewall to sidewall. We do not want to compromise our foundation. Sidewall to sidewall, meaning left to right of the nails. That is a correctly sized tip. And another tip is if you do not have, let's say I'm running out of my size 5 and that's what my client is, always size up and file the sides. Never go size down. So always make sure that the tip is sidewall to sidewall. We also want to avoid tips that have way too much of a curve. Sometimes without even saying or being labeled as curve, these nail tips are curving too much, especially if it has too much of a curve for somebody that could have flat nails. So we want to make sure that our nail tips have a nice natural curve. I am obsessed with these tips. I cannot leave them blank. I buy all my tips in the store. I've been using these tips because when I was in the shop about 15 plus years ago, these are the tips that the owner bought for us, and I love them. I love that they blend. I love the naturalness. I love the natural curve to these tips, and they're just amazing. I have seen, especially you girlies out there that like those extendos, they're super flat. They're just flat. They don't kind of curve to the naturalness of someone's nails, and that's my problem with those nails, because again, because I put on this flat tip, it's really hard to go in with your acrylic and then file and give it an arch. I mean, you can build up your apex, but at the end of the day, what did I say? That's your foundation. So we want to make sure that these nail tips aren't too flat or too curved for your client's natural nails. And another tip is going to be, make sure your tips are in box. They sell these tip boxes. I know some of you buy your tips online and sometimes it'll come separated, but they aren't labeled. This is your best friend. I love these tip boxes. I always make sure all my tips are in a box so that I know what size is what. I know when I'm running out of. I can kind of see based on my clientele which ones I'm using more. So we're gonna get into this in a second, but just make sure that you have it correctly sized and guided, and this is gonna just actually speed you up a little bit more than you think. One way that you can speed up your application in general is shaving off minutes of time. And I see a lot of techs sitting there fitting their clients for different nails. So I'm gonna give you a quick guide that's gonna help you grab the correct tip so you know it's gonna fit sidewall to sidewall. I can glue it on and move to the next nail. So again, we have this box. It's gonna be labeled 0 through 10. These are your nail tip sizes. Most tips come in this size. 0, I know we sell them individually. I buy mine individually and I place them in this box. But 0, I don't think that's like the norm. It usually comes 1 through 10. But 0 is going to be a very large thumb. So there are some people, there's a name for this and I don't know the name of it, where they have like a super wide thumb. That would be somebody that is a 0. Or if you are doing a big toe extension and you want to use a nail tip and you don't have a toe nail tip, you can use a 0. It works perfectly for the big toe or very large thumb. So I'm not going to waste time. I'm going to grab this for a very large thumb. 1 and 2 is going to be your thumb sizes. Most people are number 2. That's always what I'm going to grab first. If it is too big or too small, then I know I can grab the other one or whatever the case may be. But 1 and 2 is the only options I'm going to fit somebody for a thumb. We have 3 and 4. These are going to be your middle fingers. Most people are a number 4 most of the time. 5 and 6 are going to be not only just your pointer fingers, but also your ring fingers. And a pro tip, 80% of people, those 4 fingers are going to be the same number. You notice that my number 4 is missing a lot and my number 5. Most people are a number 5 when it comes to those 4 fingers. So I'm always going to grab this, and that is usually the same. Most of the time, those 4 fingers are the same number. And then we have 7, 8, 9, and 10. Most people will fall around the 8 to 9. Pinkies could be a little tricky. I want to say if I had to pick one, it's probably going to be a number 8 for most people's pinky. And another fun fact is that one pinky and one thumb is actually always going to be bigger on one hand versus the other. I found this throughout my whole entire career. What I try to do is, again, size it correctly for that nail. And then when it comes to filing that fatter nail, I'm going to make it appear more narrow when I'm filing after my application. But that's usually the case with one thumb. I know this thumb for me is a number 1 and this one is a number 2. And then I have my bigger pinky and a smaller pinky. I don't know. And again, guys, this is just a reference. I know some of you sit there and say, well, I'm not this. My clients are this. I hear all that, and that's great for you. I've been using this method for over 25 years. I'm just saying. When it comes to the application of your tips, you always want to make sure that you are prepping the natural nail properly. We want to dehydrate, we want to remove the shine, we want to shape the nails before we do our tip application. It's going to be imperative to have the nail tip adhere to the nail plate. We also want to make sure that we are applying nail glue to the entire well area or the contact point. So whether you are somebody that puts nail glue on the tip and applies, or puts it on the nail and then applies your tip, that is a preference. I put my nail glue on the nail tip and then I apply it. But we want to make sure that we have a nice even layer of glue so we're not gonna risk any type of air bubbles or lack of adhesion. Another thing is we want to make sure that we are pressing and holding for 5 to 10 seconds. This is going to help eliminate any air bubbles. Sometimes we are talking, we're moving, and I could put that nail and it stays fine, and then all of a sudden it lifts in a little bit of an area. Maybe I didn't notice it. We want to make sure that we are making sure that tip is on and we're holding it in place. So it's also going to depend on the type of nail glue that you're using. I use a super duper quick drying nail glue that, again, I get locally and I'm obsessed with it. I love it, and I know it dries very quickly, so I don't really have issues with air bubbles. So make sure that you're using a really good glue and know your product so you know how long you should be holding your nails. We also want to make sure that we are filing and blending that contact area where the tip meets the natural nail. We are blending it without over filing it. It drives me insane to see these nails be filed to death. Guys, this is the foundation. You don't need to rough up somebody's nail. You don't need to. It should just be smooth. A nice sanding band, a nice non-coarse sanding band. It'll do the job. You don't have to be so vigorously filing it, and it should be, you're ruining the nail plate, you're ruining your nail tip, and you're compromising the adhesion and the retention of the nail set. So just file it. It should just be a nice seamless blend. After I go over it with my sanding band, I always buff it to make sure I'm removing the shine from the nail tip, because we want to make sure we do that for adhesion of our product. And it also just helps smooth out that blend. And if you are somebody that's watching this and you sculpt a lot of your enhancements, this is still just going to be information that's going to be good for you, even though you use nail forms. So remember that having a clean, consistent prep is going to be 80% of the battle. The rest is just practice. So that is going to be your crash course in nail tips. I hope that this video was very informative for you guys that only use maybe half well tips, just knowing how to use tips, the different types of tips that are available out there, when to use them, how to apply them, and all that good stuff. If you guys have any other questions regarding nail tips, please do not hesitate to leave me a comment down below. And remember that the most important thing is understanding your clientele, your client's nail anatomy, and choosing the right tool for the job. If you guys like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye. It's a foundational tool that every nail tech should need. Brushing up on your fundamentals. Plastic nail tips are lightweight, pre-formed plastic tips made from ABS plastic. 7, 8, 9, and 10. Yes, ABS plastic. Plastic nail tips are pre-formed. This is going to be the video for you, and any type of enhancement that you are going so again, quick reference for you, take it or leave it. My lip gloss is poking.